Today on Metal and Mortgages, we discuss
LP versus EP.
and some random shit. Boo, boo.
So,
dun, 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 dun. Boo.
We're coming up on the end of this year, so new albums
In America.
confirmed for 2019 is in no apparent order, but Hell Yeah will release their album, the last album that Vinny tracked.
Awesome.
Don't know who actually will tour it with them or if they're going to tour it, but they will release it. Deftones confirmed a new record. And Bring Me to the Horizon, which released a single Mantra this year, is apparently coming out with the record next year. Seems like they released their single way early.
So that song wasn't off of any new record? It was just a single?
No, I think it's going to be on the record.
Well, do you think that unsigned type, local bands, do you think that they should just put out EPs? That way you're not dumping all this money and all this effort into a big 10, 12 song album and to put it out, and then basically there's no new material idea until you get the money to make a new album.
Well, I wouldn't paint it into a box of just local musicians. I would say I think everything is going that way. I think everything eventually will just be EPs. It doesn't make financial sense anymore to disappear for a year to record an entire album with, honestly, a lot of filler tracks, and then you only promote 4 songs off the whole record, and then you're out touring it for a few years, and there's a giant gap in between your next record. And the attention span today of people is not what it used to be. That's why they have 6-8 second videos. That's why on some analytics you can look at most people only watch your video for the first few minutes. So I think everything's gearing that way. Even, I don't know if it was Clint Lowry, but somebody from Seven Dust has said that they wish they could get away from LPs. They want to just release EPs.
Yeah, but you have artists, mainly pop and R&B and hip hop artists, that will put out a 20 song album because a lot of their music isn't bought; it's streamed. Spotify, iTunes, those are the big two. When you have a 20 track LP out there to stream across, a lot of people, if they like your stuff, they'll just put on track 1 and then let it just run. So you're getting 20 tracks worth of plays.
I see.
Versus, say, House of Curse has put out, I think it was a 5 or 6 song EP, great stuff, and it's 6 songs or something like that. So they're only getting paid for those.
I see your point. Yeah, that's a good point. I still think we'll see mainstream art. I think the industry is going to EP.
Would it be smart if you put out, say your band Sentient Shell, get your EP done, you got 5 songs. Next year you do another 5. At the end of that, should you group those as 10 songs and upload those as one album, say to the iTunes and the Spotify, so that way you'll get the 10 tracks worth of play?
Well, personally for us, I think, and I think I'm speaking for everybody, but it looks like right now we're leaning towards EPs. And the reason why that's important to me is because I really don't want our audience to have to wait so long.
Yeah, I think the benefit of that too is you're going to get new stuff out of you at least every year versus
True.
Because it's not just the money, but it's the time. Everybody has lives, man. They got wives, kids, jobs. Mm-hmm. So, and all of that gets in the way. That's why I'm not in a band at the moment, because everybody who's a good musician who can stand to be in the same room with my ass, why are you laughing at that? That shit ain't funny. Anyway, they all have wives and kids, and they just don't have time, man. Everybody wants to do it, but nobody can commit. Yeah, that's the hard thing.
family comes first, especially.
Yeah, but your band is family. You're like, man, you're my brother.
Yeah. Well,
you ever go to watch a band play at a bar and be like, what's up, brother? And brother, why weren't you there helping me last week when I was cleaning out the gutters?
Right.
Anyway,
if you're relying on it for your main source of income, that's one thing. But I think
very few of us are.
But as you get older, and honestly, you're doing it just because the love of it. Yeah, it's hard to really sacrifice. Once you get up there in age, He is chewing on cough drops.
I listen to
other listeners.
I listen. It's not as I'm using them as a lozenge, so my voice is a little more. Yeah. No, I don't have a cold or anything. If I did, you'd have it. Sometimes when we touch, the honesty is too much.
Oh, there's one thing I wanted to mention about.
Oh, you just stole my shit. Go ahead.
And then you can. Well, to follow up with the, you mentioned my band Sentient Shell and EP versus LP.
Sesame Street.
We are gearing towards. It looks like we're heading towards the EP, releasing that. Also, we're going to do something a little different that I'm excited about. I'm not going to give too much away. I think the people that are fans of what we're doing will really appreciate this. So, but we got a surprise for when we are ready to release that I think everybody will be kind of taken back. Like
Red Hot Chili Peppers already did that live on stage at the MTV Awards.
No, we're not going to wear socks or anything.
Damn. That James fella.
Yeah,
he's a looker.
So anyway.
I was saying that I'm a regular listener of the show. Who are these podcasts? And what they do is they take podcasts like ours. I wish they would do ours. I've asked them to. There's so many of them out there, and they just basically roast them. Some people find it, they're just being mean. They don't have enough material of their own, blah, 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 blah. But the reason, and they don't just do one podcast. They'll do one as like a main thing for like 20, 30 minutes. But then they'll kind of go on to some of the ones that they regularly visit, like Opie from the Opie and Anthony show, that douchebag. Well, he's doing podcasts, and he's a total douche. They pick apart his podcast every week for a short, 10 minutes, and then they'll kind of read some iTunes comments, reviews, they're often funny, and then they'll kind of tease, next week's show. One thing I get out of that is I get to hear things that they do pick apart of each show, and it helps me be I guess you say a better podcaster, or a better host or whatever you want to call it. Because I'm like, what they do sound like jackasses, or this guy's just reading the internet, that kind of stuff. And there's too many pauses or too many mouth noises. So that's why I was over here crunching the throat lozenge and into the mic, because one of the things he hates is when there's all the
right. Yeah.
All those damn mouth noises in there. So I thought it was funny.
If that's anybody's pet peeve, we apologize.
And if you get a chance to, those guys do a Reddit or a subreddit, whatever that is, and just hit them up. Tell them, recommend our show for them to roast. Dude, I would love for them to rip apart. I want them to make fun of the way I talk, my speech problem, how stupid I am, how much this guy says and and that kind of stuff. So,
to my defense, Rogan does that a lot as well, and
he's high as 5 people. Man, that dude's higher than giraffe pussy.
He's always he's on something always, isn't he?
Yeah,
he dabbles.
Do you have you've lived in your home that you bought? You've lived there now for just over 5 years, right?
I think it's, yeah.
Yeah, it was 5 years ago Thanksgiving.
That's right.
Well, congratulations on the 5-year mark.
Thanks.
Bank hadn't got it back yet. And this thing, in 35 more years, it'll be yours.
Yeah.
So I know I've lived here 8.5, and I'm kind of a busybody to the point of I don't mind going over if I see my neighbor out. I'm like, hey, what's going on, man? Hi, I'm Bob. I actually did that before we bought this house. I talked to the neighbors next door. They were out when we were looking at it. And I was like, hey, can you tell me a little bit of, background of the house? Was this like a meth lab or something, or, a chocolate lab? What? And they gave me some information that the owner died in the house, that kind of stuff. And then over the years, I mean, they kind of keep to themselves for the most part. You don't really ever catch them outside unless they're going to their car to leave or to take the trash out. But, one neighbor, the woman comes over every now and then and talks with the wife. It's very nice. They're great neighbors. My neighbor's across from me. I got to know him right off the bat. I go over there and hang out in his garage, and we just bullshit back and forth just about what's going on in life with the grandkids and that kind of stuff, and things I'm about to do to this house and what I'm working on, and back and forth. And so I know their names, but the ones after them, I don't really. It's like when I talk to the wife, I'm like, dude with the red truck, or the ones with the compost pile. You know what I mean? And I don't know that they have a compost pile, but they exercise and they're always jogging and all that crap. So I just assume that they eat a lot of bean sprouts and they have a compost pile in the backyard. Mm-hmm. So do you have nicknames like that for your neighbors that you don't really know?
No, not nicknames, but there's one guy. I'd say for the first half a year when I moved in, I attempted to wave at him numerous occasions, and he just will not wave back. He always has the mad face. He walks his dogs probably 9 times a day, and he always walks in front of my house.
There's his nickname, dude, Mad Face.
Mad Face, there you go.
Angry Face.
And I just don't even attempt to wave at him. So we just frown at each other every day. And I guess this guy doesn't work. He's about my age. And it's just him and his dogs, and he's every once in a while he'll have his 2 sons. But the people he's behind me. The people right across from me, they introduced themselves when I first got into the home, and they seem real nice. Did they
bring you like brownies or anything?
No.
But yeah, mine didn't either.
When my son was born, I did notice that my recycling bin was brought up to my garage door.
That might have been this certain pest control company that I know does that. It's nice.
Yeah, no. No, I believe it to be the people across the street.
One time I came home and I was like, okay, it's trash day. I know I put the trash out, and the trash day is Tuesday. I get one a week. I was like, okay, well, I look and, my gate was shut, but I kind of looked around back where I keep the garbage can. I was like, oh, it's back there. Well, my pest control dudes came, and as a courtesy, they bring it around back. It's pretty cool. But then there was one time, not too long after that, I came home. I know I put the garbage out. It was full too. My garbage can was gone. Like totally gone. I'm not joking. It was not in my yard, period. I called the waste management company, and they said, yeah, the garbage doesn't run till tomorrow, because there was a holiday, I guess, and I wasn't sure which ones they observe. And they said, yeah, your trash can got taken. I'm like, so they took it with the trash in it? And they're like, yep. I'm like, I'm glad. What I do with my documents, mail and things, anything with my name, address on it like that, I shred it. And when I dump my shredder in the garbage can, I also scoop out the cat box on top of it, so that they're gonna be like, I ain't touching that. I mean, not that I have important documents that they can glue back together.
Too much thought into that.
It's just, well, what better time?
Back to the neighbor thing. The neighbors on my left, the neighbors across the street are nice. The neighbors on my left, they're nice. They wave, but I've never met them. The neighbors on my right, I don't know what happened. She was a school teacher, and she had like another female roommate or something, and then all of a sudden, nobody's in that house anymore. It's just
talking about the one that's like stained, dark.
All of a sudden, it's like abandoned, and
that house has always looked abandoned.
Some older man now comes by and cuts the lawn and leaves, and that's it. I'd never. I wish somebody
cut my yard and leave.
And then recently, a man in a silver sedan pulled up in the driveway and looked at the house and was like taking notes. And I think
the one next door.
I think he got out and like looked around the front porch, and then he left. He was there like 2 minutes.
Might have been an insurance agent,
maybe. But yes, I don't know what happened to that neighbor, and it's been vacant now for I don't know, over a year. It's just I don't know what they're doing with it.
The interior of my microwave is metal. That's weird. How is that even possible? Put some metal in a microwave, see what it does. Turn it on. How the hell's the interior of it lined in metal?
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know.
You know. What?
That is random shit.
I told you random shit. You thought I was lying?
That is random.
You know, for the...
You know, there's... In my silverware drawer, there's silverware in there.
Well, put it in a microwave. Find out what it does.
It's not really, probably not.
I've been an asshole since birth. After I was born, I didn't talk for almost 2 years. Kept my silence. Damn, boy, this is tough. It's tough coming up with shit.
What else you got there?
Do you not think, and this was a little more, I was, watching Maury again, got off early one day. I got done early. I don't get off work anymore. I just get done and come home. I do 8 hours worth of work in about 4 hours. I ain't lying.
Same here.
So I got home, and I'd turn on TV, and for some reason it's always on the channel that you catch Maury on. And I'm making lunch, putting non-metallic things in
Test results show
in my microwave.
That was a lie.
Right. Well, long story short, I came up with this idea that why don't we just make it mandatory that all babies that are born and the fathers have to take a damn DNA test, paternity test right there on the spot at birth. Mm-hmm. 'Cause I don't care how much you in love. I don't care how much, there are no signs of any of that.
Yeah, it does.
That would stop a lot. That would be kind of like preemptive kind of thing. If you electrify your fence and the kid next door comes over and touches it, gets zapped, he probably ain't going to touch it again.
Well, if you skip out on child support, I'm pretty sure that they can court order you to go take a DNA test.
Well, if you're paying child support and you haven't taken a DNA test, you're a effing fool.
True.
Because that might not be your kid.
Happens more than...
I brought that up to the wife, or it might have been my mom, and they're like, well, that's not cheap. That's like $350. I'm like, what do you think a birth costs nowadays? Like $8,000.
Yeah, one thing that your standard paternity DNA test will not tell you is that it does not differentiate between between your DNA and your father's.
So if your dad's smashing your chick, then
it'll still come up as your kid.
Go Benny. I'm just playing. That's sick. My apologies, Debbie. So yeah, well, I just think that would stop a lot of problems. Just knowing that kid's gonna be DNA tested right out of the damn Play-Doh fun factory of life. That'll stop a lot of hanky-panky too. A lot of lying.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? Probably gonna end up being done anyway. Let's just make it mandatory. I lived, and my daughter's aware of this, that I lived for about 21 years not knowing if I was the true paternal of my daughter. I still took care of her. It didn't matter to me. I still raised her 100%. There were times, because the mother wasn't around. There were times when I'd have to take her.
I can look at her and I can tell she's yours. So.
Thanks. There were times when I would take her to the doctor, and they'd be like, and I wouldn't put the mother's name because, number one, it's irrelevant. Number two, I don't need them to look her up. I don't need her being able to call. I wasn't trying to hide my kid, but, but the mother was basically someplace that nobody needed to know about. What nobody's business.
Right.
So they're like, and the mother? And I'm like, oh, I don't really know who the mother is. Well, women can do that and then be like, oh, you're a slut. Right. But if a guy does it, so it was a joke and they didn't laugh.
Right.
Kind of like you. There was a lot of doubt in my mind. I never said anything to my daughter.
You are now.
Earlier this year, I think it was last year, my mother had brought over some photos of my father whenever my father was 2 and 3 years old. My mother had them laying out on the table. I was outside, and her and my wife were just hanging out at the dining table going through stuff. And I walked in and I'm like, what is this? What is it? Where did these come from? You know, my mom goes, oh, that's your dad. I'm like, what? I thought that was my grandson. I for real, if I should like
you showed me that.
Give you the
That's
photo
crazy.
and let you see my dad at age 2 and my grandson at age 2. Dude, it looked like it came out the same, like twin kind of thing.
When
so
my son was
that right there sealed it. I am baby father.
When my son was born, you know, she had a C-section, and so basically I was whisked off with him. So I was the one with him first, pretty much, and I knew right away. I could tell by just his face that
you have to watch out for those C-section babies. They when they go outside, they tend to climb out the windows and not go through the doors. Just a heads up.
But you can tell my son's nose and his eyebrows, his brow.
Yeah,
you can tell.
Well, Mama had blue eyes, didn't she?
Mm-hmm. He does have blue
now they're
eyes.
black. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he does have blue eyes.
Yeah, yeah. She's got beautiful eyes. Every time you post a photo or you message me one, I'm like, dude, those I just get lost in them.
Yeah,
he's got some beautiful eyes. So, well, I just thought that I'd bring that up. Just something I thought about, and after watching more, let's just DNA test all babies when they're born. I mean, they're going to get it anyway.
Yeah, I'd be for that.
I'll read something to the crowd. Do you know that a guy named King Gillette, nothing to do with any kind of hierarchy, a guy named King Gillette sold bottle caps a long time ago. He really wasn't into it, and his boss told him, you need to sell something that's disposable, because you sell them something disposable like a bottle cap, twist it off, throw it away, they're going to need another bottle cap. He thought about it. He's like, well, he's racking his brain trying to think, what could he invent? What could he make that's disposable? Because he was raised, you know, in that time and day, you didn't throw things away. You reused them, or you know, you cleaned your plate. You didn't dare throw away food because it was a very valued commodity. One day he was getting ready for work and he had to shave, and he had one of those razors that you kind of fold out, you know, and the minute he put it to his face, it cut him because it was dull. He thought about it. He's like, I got it. So he decided to, and it took him a lot of work. He actually designed many iterations of this razor before he came out with the one that, because basically the metal didn't have the strength, it would bend or it would break. So he came out with the idea where you would sandwich the actual razor in between two other pieces of heavier metal, and it would give it the agility to go across your face, nice and smooth. And use that thing once or twice. When it's done, throw it in the trash. Get another blade, put it in there. And so yeah, he invented. That's how we came up with the disposable razor, which I still use Gillettes to this day. I can't grow a beard. If you put a gun to my head and you waited 3 years, I would not have a beard. Thought that was interesting. Why I gather this information, I have no idea. I just like knowing where things come from. I just told a little story about how the disposable razor got invented. I thought it was really interesting. Here's another one. A guy named Spangler worked on a night shift in a department store.
Who?
A guy named, his last name was Spangler, and he worked in a department store on the night shift. His job was to clean all the rugs. Back then, they would, hang rugs up and just beat the crap out of them, beat the dust, and all this dust is in the air. And then he'd lay them down, and they had a vacuum, but it was more of a sweeper that was, manual, that they would just roll over it. It was a box with the brushes, and it would get up some of it. One day, he's doing that. He's just tired of breathing in all this dust, man. It was a horrible job, but, back then, you had to do what you had to do. And he's like, man, I'm getting hot. And he looked to see they had a ceiling fan back then. And he looked to see, was it on? And yep, it's on. And then he went, hey. He took the fan off, took the motor out of it, rigged it to the back of the sweeper, took a belt, like a leather belt, wrapped it around the thing, hooked up power to it, created the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, right.
All right. So, but the first iteration didn't have a bag on it. So it was blowing all that dust up in the air. So he used a pillowcase. But it didn't take long for that pillowcase to blow out.
Yeah.
So he came up with, a better version of it using bags and stuff. He basically kept that to himself. He didn't go and patent it or any of that. He sold it to a relative named William Hoover. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
And that was in 1908. So prior to that, cleaning carpets didn't suck. Yeah, didn't suck. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting stuff, man. When you buy an item, do you read product reviews and stuff like Amazon or on Best Buy or wherever? Google has them too.
I will
read reviews on stuff.
Yeah, not at length. I will. Obviously, I'll pick the one with the most stars. But if it's like 20 reviews, I won't even read them. But if it's a good amount of reviews, then I'll take it in consideration and I'll read the first 3 that give it 4 stars or 5 stars. They give it perfect reviews. I'll read those, and then I will scroll all the way down and try to find the ones that had 1 or 2 stars and see what their problem is. And usually they got a defective one, or they tried to return it,
or it's operator error.
They couldn't return it, or something like this. Yeah. So I will kind of skim through.
Oh, dude, I had to buy a new microwave this week. It hasn't gotten here yet. And
now I will say though, something that is, I would say, over $300, I will study it at length and watch video reviews and everything like that. Yeah.
Well, I was checking today because I was bored. Came up Best Buy Apple savings event. Well, for those of us who know Apple stuff doesn't really go on sale. so when there's an Apple sale, you want to check it out. What are they really knocking off here? Or are they just giving you like a $50 gift card, which is worth bupkis? So I looked and they had some, MacBook Airs on sale, and I was basically checking to see if they were the new model or the old model. Well, they don't tell you. So I looked down in the reviews. Well, the new model's been out for like 2 months, if that. So if there's older reviews than that, then it's the old model. And I go down, and there's a 1-star review. It says, "Not buying Apple products ever again from Best Buy."
Uh-oh. I'm
like, what? So I read it. It wasn't that long. And their review was basically bashing the return policy, the Geek Squad warranty, all that stuff. First of all, if you buy an Apple product, buy Apple Care. Do not buy any other warranty, any third-party warranty. Buy Apple Care only. You have an Apple Care, if you have Apple Care on your item, doesn't matter what it is, phone, AirPods, iMac, MacBook, Apple TV, whatever, a watch. You take it to the Apple store, and they either fix it right there or they give you a new one right there. No questions asked.
But you do have to pay even more.
No, it's not that bad. $99 for like 3 years is not bad.
I did it
for a $2,500 iMac.
I know, but I'm saying I did it. You recommended I get the Apple Care, right? And you said it'll also replace it for free. Mm-hmm. That's not true. I still had to pay. So the Apple Care was, what was it? How much? $260 or something?
It's
like
based on the item. No, it's like for an iPhone 8 or under, it's like $99 for 3 years.
Okay, well, I purchased it, and then I had to pay another $120 to replace my phone.
Well, because you broke your screen?
No, the back.
It's glass.
Yeah, it cracked.
And that's so they can use the Qi charging, the QI's Qi.
Yeah. So anyway, that shattered the back of it, and so I got the Apple Care like you suggested, and then I still was charged like $120 or something to replace the phone. So, and to replace it without the Apple Care is $300. So I paid $220 or something. So,
but you still have a couple more years on that, so you're good. So you can drop it again and still save that money. So now that you have it in a qualified case, you're okay. But this woman was bitching about the USB port had smoked and turned black or whatever, and she went to take it back, and they didn't do blah blah blah. She didn't review the item. She reviewed the Geek Squad warranty and Best Buy personnel. She did not review the
Right,
item.
yeah, there's a lot
so
of that.
now, luckily, Best Buy allows comments, so I put a nice comment on there. Hey, be nice if when you're reviewing a product that you review the product. If you have an issue with the Best Buy retail store personnel or the Geek Squad warranty at all, then review that where it's appropriate. Don't do it here.
Nice.
Because this woman gave an Apple MacBook, MacBook Air, a 1-star review, which is fine. If you think it's a piece of crap, if it's too slow, if it shuts down on you, battery life sucks, if it only has 128 gigs of hard drive space and you need more, blah, 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 then complain about that. Do that where it's appropriate. I had to read 100 reviews this week on microwaves. I'm going to change my microwave out from just a regular microwave to a convection microwave, so I can get my big convection oven off my countertop space and get back that valuable real estate called countertop. So, because I use the hell out of my convection oven, and I'm not giving it up, but I'd like to have that countertop space back after 8 years. So I read a lot of reviews because there's a lot of duds out there. Now everything's made in China, and no offense to the Chinese, but their stuff is not made as well. So reading all these reviews, there's so many just morons out there writing, I got this microwave 3 days ago and I love it. I got my microwave last week and I love it. Why don't you give it a month, 2 months even? Cook Thanksgiving dinner first, then write a damn review on a cooking appliance.
Now, some of those, to their defense, they'll say, I will follow up.
And then they do it on a website that doesn't allow you to edit your original review. You have to write an entire new one. Now, some people are goodly like that, and they will write, this is a follow-up to my review that's lower on from 3 months ago. So you can scroll down and find, The other thing is, say on this microphone, this is the best microphone I ever used. The end. Okay, well, what microphone have you used in the past? What are you coming from? That will let me know what your experience is with other microphones, so I can gauge just how.
Why don't you should start a website reviewing reviews?
Do a podcast on that shit. I'm just saying, man.
One thing I don't like is on Amazon in particular is when I go to reviews and nobody's put a photo up of the product. I'll go, even though I'm going to purchase this one because it's cheaper or sold by Amazon or whatever, I'll go to some other listings of the same product just to try to find actual photos where somebody purchased it and took some pictures of the product. I just want to see it in real life and not just the stock image up there.
I did one better. I'd ordered my buddies in the Ordinary Guys podcast. They use a $30 microphone set. They have 4 $30 mics that I'm talking $30 for the mic, the shock mount, the boom arm, and the cable.
The whole shebang.
$30. It was like $32. It's called a Tonor, T-O-N-O-R. It's a condenser mic, so it requires phantom power. So for fun, I bought one. I figured it's $32. And I didn't just write a review. I went a step further. I made a YouTube video. It's on my channel, Bob Solomon, Solo Man. I made a video comparing it with like 3 other mics and this one. So you can see what $30 sounds like, what $60 sounds like, what $200 sounds like, and what $400 is like. And it's just getting some views, I wish I owned, a lot of these Blue or the podcaster mics that are $99, that kind of stuff, because that's what people are going to look for. They're going to look for a comparison of that $30 mic with the $99 Blue mic. That's a USB directly in kind of mic. I don't own that stuff, and I have no reason to buy it other than to, review it and, return it, which I may do, but that's the only area that I may have fell short. But other than that, and I didn't mic a guitar cab with it. I just talked into it, and told you about the mic and overall what I thought of it. So I wish reviewers would just not review stuff unless they're going to, have time behind the wheel using the damn product. B, if you're going to say this is the best thing I've ever used, well, then tell us where you're coming from, what you used in the past, to build up to that one so that we know if you're using a Shure SM7B and you think it's amazing. Well, if you're coming from a Neumann that was 20 grand, that's impressive.
Yeah.
But if you're coming from a Tonor off of Amazon for $30, not impressive.
I'm very guilty of not providing feedback one way or the other. Even if I'm ecstatic about it or if I absolutely got screwed, I won't even take the time to put stars in. I mean, and I know it's kind of sad. But,
well, Best Buy occasionally will email me after I've bought something, usually a video game that I don't own. And they'll be like, so what do you think of Red Dead Redemption 2? Click here to write a review and get 50 rewards points.
Really?
Extra for your review.
Oh, wow.
But I can't because I don't play the damn game.
Right.
And that made me think, well, maybe a lot of these reviews that are like, it's a good game at the end, are from people that are just trying to get those extra 50 reward points. And only for Elite Plus members, which I am.
Speaking of Red Dead 2, the multiplayer is now available. I haven't tried it, but it's out.
Because you don't have any friends.
People seem to be enjoying it. So
I wonder if you get to keep your hat.
I don't know.
I mean, what would multiplayer be on that? You got to go to neighboring towns and find people? I mean, what?
Yeah, you just run into random encounters. A friend of mine put up on Facebook that he, played for quite a long time with somebody from Australia, and they got to know each other. Running around beating each other up.
Like put shrimps on the bobby.
Whipping each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, holidays coming up, Christmas coming up, Hanukkah's already kicking. Did you light your menorah?
Yeah, I put a tree up. I
said, did you light your menorah?
I don't know what that is.
It's a euphemism for lighting candles.
No, I didn't light any candles. I did put a tree up. I always put a real tree up, and this time I actually put more lights outside. I actually lined my roof.
Did you change the orange ones out to actually like green and blue and red?
I took the Halloween lights
around
down.
your lamppost.
Yeah, but
I still got the pumpkin in the doorstep.
I got like a blue theme going on, so I got a lot of blue lights.
I'll have blue.
It just kind of happened, Started with that lamppost. So I just ran with it.
No backup vocals.
Yeah, man, it's going to be 2019 pretty soon.
I have put up 0 decorations and don't really plan on it because don't care.
Is Tammy into it or
nope?
Really?
We're just not doing it this year. She's reading biblical things and learning a lot of theology, but she just doesn't. I think if she had the time to, she's got other things going on, like after work. She comes home and has other projects going on right now. So she just is not going to put the hours and hours and hours of digging everything out of the attic.
So
and
y'all aren't
taking
putting
out
a tree
box.
up or anything?
If I want to see a tree, I had to go to my mom's. It's around the block.
Okay.
My mom's got like nine trees up. It's ridiculous.
I feel you.
It's beautiful, but it's ridiculous. So it doesn't really bother me. I don't have to vacuum up the crap and deal with it. And the cat, even though my cat's so old, she's gonna get her own, what do they call those, like assistants, animals to help guide her around. She still likes to lay under the tree and knock ornaments off, not because she's playing with them, but because she's just retarded. So.
Well, I mainly just did it for my son. So. Well,
yeah, that's all. Well, it helps brighten up. It's so gray outside and it's rainy all the time and it's cold and depressing. It's dark. It's nice to go in the house, and turn on them lights, and have it be pretty and colorful and bright. And it's kind of nice. But I mean, we're not going to be putting in gifts under the tree this year. Just getting for the grandkids. And Tammy's got like 36 grandkids or some shit. And I got two and 8/9 grandkids. I got one coming either at the end of this month or the beginning of the next one.
Oh wow!
So yeah, little Rob. That's what I'm calling it.
I
don't care what that baby name is. My house, the baby's named Lil Rob.
Right.
Hey, did you make it through No Nut November?
I'm not answering that.
Happy holidays.
Ain't no lie, getting old as a bitch. Gonna spit this game, only way I'll get rich.